you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify. If he don't love you anymore, just walk your fine ass out the door. I do my head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Feeling good as hell. Baby, how you feeling? Woo, girl, need to kick off your shoes. Gotta take.
I'm feeling a lot of good things are going on in this queen of second opinion. Oh, I guess it would help if I turned that on.
Darn it. I guess it would help if I would turn a microphone on. You know, I keep telling my gang, one of my reasons, Meg, Queen of Second Opinions, to be here is to model imperfection. So whenever you see me screw up, consider yourself just fine. Okay? It's Wednesday, hump day, love this day of the week. And that might be another reason why I'll never retire, because I want to have a hump day. I want a middle of the week day to be grateful for, because it tells me my weekend is coming. Yep, Meg Higgins here, Queen of Second Opinions. My website, secondopinionated.com. For those of you who want to know more about me and want to find a way to invite me into your world, go to the website. It'll tell you everything you need to know about me. And, well, not everything. I do have some secrets and some privacies. But the point is, I'm positioning myself as a speaker for your group organization. And also, I'm trying to reach you youngsters. I want to become your human chat GPT therapist. Why? Because I am one. LCSW, clinical therapist, 45 years and going strong. Seen some things, heard some things, witnessed some things. You want me on your team. I know that much. That's one of the reasons for my well-developed second opinions. And the other source is the fact that I'm still kicking. And I'm not dead yet. I've put a great number of years on this planet. I call myself in the third act of life, which is anybody over 60. If you need to know the body's age, go to the website. It'll tell you. And you know what? I don't live by my body's age. That's the best part of my story. I live through my spirit, and she's 45. So that if you want to know my age, ask about my spirit's age. Oops, lost that microphone, and I bounced back. Hallelujah. Okay, tonight, well, I knew I was going to have to talk about this because it's now called an epidemic, loneliness. I'm not sure who are the people that it's saying it's at epidemic levels. I'm not so sure I'm quick to sign on to that, although I will say, because I get around and I've traveled to every state in this country, I see a lot. What is going on? I lost.
Keep going.
I don't know. This is the night of imperfection.
The mic.
The mic is not talking. It's not. I'm talking. The mic is not responding. And I don't have the red button on. So something happened, crew. But hold on. Somebody's going to come to my rescue. I just don't know who. And that's interesting because that's a fantasy I've had, is to have somebody come to my rescue, but I gave up on that. Oh, in and out. I'm going in and out.
All right, keep going.
I will keep going. I'm the Energizer Bunny. I'm the mega mouth. I'm the megaphone. Okay, here we are. Back. Nope, in and out, in and out. I don't know if I want to keep talking if I don't have volume to back me up, crew. Anybody who's listening and you can't hear me, I don't blame you. That would be frustrating. If you need to sign off, I understand.
We're still recording here. So
Oh, I'm sorry. We're still recording here. See, again, someone would have to threaten my life to not continue with my show. That's how committed I am. But back to the reason why we're here, loneliness. Temporary or permanent? That to me is the question. Temporary or permanent? A lot of folks are, again, saying it's epidemic levels. I will say that I do come into contact with more people that make mention of how lonely they are feeling. So here's the thing I want to make sure I lead with, because you know, what I love about being a wordsmith, and I am, and that's to the point where some of my friends, they're really annoyed with me. They're like, Meg, my God, you hang on every word. I think that's tied to me being paid for 45 years to listen, to be a seriously engaged listener as a therapist. And I've got that going on now. I hang on people's words and I become a bit of a wordsmith. But I want to make the distinction between being alone versus lonely. And what's interesting to me is I haven't had much experience with aloneness. It's pretty much defined as a physical state of being literally by yourself. Some place, whether it's a room, a house, any kind of physical space. You're by yourself. It's a physical state. And it wasn't long ago. Well, first off, I've moved, 5 times in the last 6 years, which is wild. But boy, what a trooper that says I am, that I can do that, and very resilient. Thank you to my Polish-Irish constitution. Where's that round of applause, Carl?
Got you.
50-50. Well, I don't think it's really 50-50. But the bottom line is, okay, that's okay, Carl. We'll get a round of applause on another note, because I've got many things to applaud about myself. But what I realized, because I've moved around a lot, and also some of you may or may not recall, I was in a long-term marriage, 34 years in his company. I think it was 36 on paper. Whatever. The point is, it was a long, long time that I occupied that state. But my point is, I grew up in a family of 10 children, so had a pack mentality. There were the only space in that house, which some of you big family people can relate to, the only space that you could get alone was the bathroom. And no wonder I became a fan of baths. I'd lock that door, and it didn't matter what anybody else's biological need was, they had to wait, because I was going to take that bath, and it was going to be long, and now I understand why. I wanted some alone time. I wanted to only be with myself as the only person, the only human being in that space. So that's where I got it in childhood. Bottom line is, the number of years, I counted this up, the number of years that I have lived by myself. Now again, I'm over 60, third actor. The number of years, go to my website if you have to know the hard number. I only lived by myself for 7 years out of many. That to me, I don't know if it's a record, but what I'm saying is to be alone is something I've had very limited experience with. And I think that's kind of true for most people. I mean, as someone once said to me, if God meant for us to be alone, he would have put us on earth one person at a time. But we're not here by ourselves physically. We're on a planet that's got a lot of people. Is it, 8 billion? Is that the world? Look that up, Carl.
I'll fact check it for you.
I've heard the number recently. Out of 8 billion people on the planet, I heard that recently. The bottom line is, though, to be alone just means you're in a state, a physical state where you're by yourself. There's no other human around. Whether it's in that moment, whether it's in that day, whether it's in your lifetime. But yeah, I've only lived by myself, being in the family of 10 and then going to college, and I had 5 roommates there. Then got out of college and got to have a roommate to help pay the bills because I wasn't able to support myself by myself. But I've had that experience only 7 years, which to me is not much. So no wonder I enjoy my alone time when I get it. But that's not the same as loneliness. Loneliness is an emotional experience, meaning to me it resides more internally, where you could be in the company of other people, yet you do not experience being connected with them. Lonely in a crowd. is a common expression, people have said. So again, the difference is you can be in a physical state of being with other people, but inside you feel disconnected. And when I was thinking about this tonight, and I'm going to talk about my own personal experiences with loneliness, and there are different types of loneliness, which we didn't understand a long time ago when I was in my early training as a therapist. But the one time I saw and heard discussion around loneliness the most was when I created a private practice when we moved to Chicago, and I decided to only work with couples. Prior to that, my counseling business was individuals, families, and groups. But when we moved to Chicago, I decided my niche is couples. I am fascinated with people's willingness to put together a connection, a partnership, an intimate relationship with another human being. Now, we call it dating, love, potential marriage. But bottom line is, being a couple specialist, that's when I saw a kind of loneliness that I didn't really understand was possible. And it was with couples. Couples who were empty nesters, whose only child, last child, was leaving the parental home and going off to college, or if not off to college, going out to create their own life on their own, get in their own apartment, have a job, et cetera, et cetera. Didn't matter what the circumstances were. But how many couples would call me up and say, Meg, we want to come work with you? And what I discovered was that they were so child-centered that once they became parents, the couple connection, the couple bond started to wane and get little to any attention. And so when this child leaves the home, now the adult child leaves the home, and most of the couples were married, but if not, they'd look at each other, and I would see this in my office. They'd look at each other and go, who are you? I don't really know you anymore. And the bottom line was they had stopped getting to know one another, stopped developing that intimate, tender, loving, playful, romantic, sexual connection. And the number of couples that stopped having sex, oh my God. And that wasn't so much about becoming an empty nester. A lot of that was on the heels of, for the woman, post-menopause, which now we're giving a lot of attention to. Yay! There's a round of applause. I want to say thank you, Western medicine, for finally putting women under a light to understand our wiring, our bodies, and what it means to be equipped to produce children and then to have that stopped. Oy. Okay. But the bottom line, the empty nest, child-focused, it was all about the kids, and then the kids leave, and now they don't know what to do. And many of them, if they didn't come find me, I know for a fact that many of them just out loud or unconsciously or unspoken just cut a deal. Let's just live separately under the same roof. You do you, I'll do me, and we'll ride this till death do we part out. Now, for men, many times what drives that decision is finance. I don't blame them. I wouldn't want to have to give up half of the stuff, especially if the man had done the bulk of the earning. I understand that. Oh, thank you. I knew you'd like that, Carl. I knew that.
I'm just joking.
Okay, well, jokes are allowed here, thank God. I'm not ever going to present myself as too frickin' serious. That would be a problem. So many would sign up to just live under the same roof, not get divorced, and, really live like roommates. But boy, I could see the loneliness. And that's that kind of loneliness in a crowd. You have somebody there, so you're not alone. But you do not have the connection. You do not treasure, or you did not nurture what it was that the two of you found in each other when you first got together. So that's where I saw that a lot. Now, fast forward. Now I'm a party of one. I don't like the word single. I'll never like the word divorce. And I grew up at a time where there was a lot of shame and failure associated with it. So I'm sure that's part of what drives me to create new words. Matter of fact, Carl, make this note. Next project is Meg needs to create a dictionary.
Ooh, all right.
That has new words for new terminologies so that it not only doesn't represent just my generation or my earlier experience, but it speaks to the deeper experience. And that's what I like. See, single to me, boring. That just, back in my day, that just meant, oh, I guess nobody wants her. She's a potential old maid, a spinster. See, that's the association. Divorced, again, growing up. What, honey?
Wait, you say spinster?
Spinster. Well, I say things funny. S-P-I-N-S-T-E-R, spinster.
Oh.
But I like to put the sister part in. So spinster. You know what, Carl? Have I told you that I am just a frustrated Hollywood actress that never made it?
You know what? I can see it.
I hear that all the time. Meg, oh my God, you're so animated. You're a performer. And I took an acting class in San Diego. My teacher said, oh my God, Meg, you would be the bomb. Really? Where? Commercials, especially because of your age group. Because you don't fit it, you don't walk it, you don't talk it. I said, oh, thank you. Problem was in San Diego, that was going to require me spending a lot of time making that drive from San Diego to LA. And let me tell you something. You don't want that to be part of your life. You really don't. Nobody wants it. They tolerate it. But I'm like, I ain't tolerating that.
How long is that? How long is that drive?
Well, here we go. The standard question is, what time of day? What time of day are you going to be on the 405 or the 5 or whatever? It's all about, and every day is different. It really is. But again, I never had to lean into that. I'm sure there's some true troopers, as I call them, that do that and would have an answer for that. So if anybody has an answer to that, I don't know, put it on Facebook if you know it. Not that I'm going to read it right now, but if
I'll read it if they don't.
Yeah. Okay, where was I? Okay, back to, yeah, so I am a frustrated actress. Spinster, yeah, so I'm sure there's a reason why I like to create new words. First off, because I find them neutral to inviting, to endearing, or even funny. And the divorce thing, again, judgment, shame, failure back in the era that I was growing up. Now, shoot, people are dropping. I met a guy, oh my God, Carl, I got to tell you this. It was brief. I think I did tell you this. I met a guy who's been married 6 times.
Oh, you did tell me this.
I did tell you this. I'm still recovering from that. That was last week. Now, and what was so cute about him is that he made a point after he announced that he'd been married 6 times. He made a point, folks, to tell me, well, 4 of them died. So, four were, he was a widower 4 times. This poor guy, not poor guy, but he wanted a hall pass for having to tell somebody that he's been married 6 times. All that told me was, this guy is not selective. That's what I took away from it. So that didn't hold my interest. I get ahead of myself. So that's why I like to call myself a party of one. Again, I want to create new words. I'll be a party of one, but don't call me single and don't call me divorced. Yeah, so again, back to loneliness. So I told you I saw a lot of it in my couple specialist role for men and women who've been married quite a number of years and then had children. The children left and they didn't know what to do with themselves. And one or both would say they felt very, very lonely, which made sense because they had stopped building, nurturing the connection with each other. That's not the one that I'm the most familiar with. So let me lead with the one that I'm really the most familiar with. And they've got, like I said, there's literature on it. So one type of loneliness is referred to as emotional loneliness. And that is an experience inside of yourself where you just sense that you just don't feel understood. Like you could be talking, but the transmission isn't going through. The other person just doesn't get your point, doesn't understand what's at the heart of your message. And I remember that phrase. I remember thinking, they don't get me. They don't get me. And there was a sense of just distraught, quite frankly. I mean, we all need to be heard, understood. We need to feel like we matter. That's part of being human. Animals don't need that. Now, part of us is animal, but more of us is human. And that comes with different abilities and possibilities. But again, it's the result of nobody gets me. Oh, here's the one that I remember. So let me stop here because I've had two versions of that. So the first version for me of emotional loneliness was growing up in my family. And this is not a blame thing. So if any of my siblings are listening, any extended family members, don't take me down. Everything is all good between me and my story. Forgiveness has happened. Compassion is on the scene. I get my story. Yet, numbers. I'm one of 10. I was number 3. To grow up in a pack mentality, it's not about the individual. It's not about me. It's not about the self. It's about for the greater good, the greater cause, which is meet the majority. Majority wins. Yeah, started there. Having to kind of blend in, fit in, and guess what? I didn't do well. I wasn't one to fit in because I wanted to be seen as Meg. Meg. Who's Meg? But when you're surrounded by the majority in the packs, again, self-reflection, self-examination, anything with the word self in it doesn't exist. And I don't think that's unique to big family. But it clearly was a heavy contributor to me knowing loneliness at a very, very young age, or better yet, in my developing years, which is birth to age 8. And to top it all off, there would be one experience after the next. Okay, another way. Lonely. Don't feel understood. Nobody gets Meg. And not feeling connected to the pack. Because we are all gifted with ways that are unique to us, that speak to our essence. So here's the first example. I didn't like traditional school. Not at all. I'm an experiential learner. I like to engage my senses. I like to touch, smell. Yeah, kinesthetic, active, put me in it. Well, to be put at a desk and held hostage in that tight space in a room, yeah. It was not good. Now, the difference was I knew how to appease grown-ups, the authorities. I knew how to kind of get through that experience. But my truth is I was not a traditional student. So that's another way I felt like people didn't get me. So I didn't feel like a student. I didn't feel like I was interested in learning. And then you couple with me being sandwiched between two sisters. One a year older, one a year younger. And guess what, gang? They were both straight A students.
Ooh.
So the expectation was, get in there, Meg. And I didn't. I was C's and D's with a handful of F's. So that didn't help. To not feel like I could be what my two sisters were being. So in that sense, and that's not alone, that's feeling disconnected, not able to measure up or perform. Yeah. Interesting. And then also to look back now and understand that, Carl, I don't think this will surprise you. I'm a rule bender and a rule breaker. Yeah, I don't, conforming is not my strong suit. I did it when I absolutely had to, but other than that, which is how come, you earn these titles in your family. Mine back then was black sheep. And isn't that discriminating? saying, why do the sheep have to be black?
You know what? There's a lot of
I bet there are.
that word.
Yeah, you and I may have to talk. That could be a whole new dictionary or one to deconstruct, because I thought about that.
It's always a negative connotation.
Well, no kidding. Yeah, black cloud. Uh-huh. Thank you. And here we sit in the middle of the country, which, has a lot of racism going on here, but I'm not going to touch that subject. But yeah, I was a rule bender, rule breaker. And so again, anytime I had the experience of not feeling understood, not feeling like I fit in, like I belonged, that's the big word, that will absolutely prompt a human being to feel emotionally lonely, without a doubt, without a doubt. And the other thing too, which is my opinion now, here we go, Meg Higgins, Queen of Second Opinions. By the way, secondopinionated.com. Go check out all the things I'm up to and looking to make happen in my life. Some other things too, and I talk about this with my peeps oftentimes, that it was Thomas More, philosopher, who said, and this is a loose quote, every soul has its geography. And that to me is profound, because I do believe you can feel a sense of loneliness based on where you live. Yeah. And I know for sure that was part of the reason why I was so eager to leave the Midwest, was because I just didn't identify with a lot of the Midwestern people in terms of how they live their life, not much into risk-taking, and I am, not variety seekers, and I love variety. You couldn't pay me to eat the same thing, not every day, not even the same thing. And this was, again, part of growing up, and I understood, Mom, you're off the hook, you've been forgiven. She had to cook for so many people, she had to have order, had to have struggle. So Friday was fish night, Sunday was pot roast, and I know our family is not the only one, but I mean, the rotation is like, oh my God, oh my God. So it's interesting. I love to cook, and people say, what's your favorite dish? I said, I don't have one. No, Meg. What's your go-to dish? I don't have one. I cook something new every chance I get. How come? Because that's Meg. But if what I do doesn't come close to others, we call that disconnection. That's a form of loneliness. So I absolutely felt a kind of loneliness living here in the Midwest until we got to California. And that's when I realized that was my soul's home. And so for those bouts of loneliness that I would feel in and out, it's kind of an in and out, again, temporary, not permanent, temporary. I'd have bouts of loneliness, emotional loneliness, feeling disconnected, because I wasn't enough in the company of people that were open to getting me. In other words, they were curious. And I don't know what it is on the West Coast, and I don't think it's unique to the West Coast. I just know it's in abundance in the West Coast. Free spirits, people are wheeling and dealing, risk-taking, they're mixing things up. I found my people. Oh my God, I found my people. And those little bouts of loneliness completely, I'm not going to say disappeared, they just flew, they diminished. That's the word I want to use. They diminished. And guess what? I'm back in some of it again, because I left California, couldn't afford it anymore. I think we have a break coming up. I'm going to make, let's do a break after I make this point. Yeah, the geography piece turned out to be big. And the other thing I discovered, in addition to being a free spirit, that's my kind of natural essence state. I'm a city gal, I'm an urbanite, and I lived in the heart of San Diego. And it was exquisite for me. So yeah, I'm back in the Midwest, and that's okay. It was by design. San Diego, too expensive. All my friends and peeps know that. But I'm back, and I'm having some bouts of loneliness again. Like, there's not a lot of free spirits here. And there's not a lot of risk takers here. I mean, they're here, but they're not in greater numbers. And that's how I thrive. That's how I thrive. So my friends who are scattered all over the country, they're getting a lot more phone calls from me because they are my people. And they're carrying me while I'm back in a space geographically that I don't connect with heavily. Okay? So let's take a break. Facebook, stay with me. Love you all. Oh, here we go. And I get this, I never know how to get it. Do I hit finish? Microphone. Microphone. There she is. There she is. Again, Meg Higgins here, Queen of Second Opinions. Happy Wednesday to you. Yeah. I picked this subject because a lot of people do approach the holidays with anticipating loneliness or already in it post-Thanksgiving. So it's just kind of top of mind right now. I know the other thing I wanted to be sure to talk about, because I'm also experiencing this other type of loneliness. It's called situational loneliness. And that often speaks to that whatever's going on in your life at that time is interfering with you making connections, whether it's many or any, or maybe it's about the quality. But making connections is a little bit difficult. So situational loneliness is real. And it can be tied to the location where you are. Like I said, I'm back in the Midwest, so I've lowered my expectations, fantasies around how many free spirits I'm going to hang out with, much less meet. So some of that's going to be part of the ride. But I braced myself for that because I had lived here, had the experience, left, things shifted, and it's okay. And by the way, I'm not judging the Midwest. I'm just telling you my story. Again, I'm not here to persuade. I'm not here to even influence. I'm not here to convince, that's for sure. But I do believe in the power of people telling their story. I saw that when I served the military. the folks that had come back from Afghanistan, Iraq, and Iran, and how they needed to talk. I saw it in my generation with the men who served in Vietnam and how them sitting on their story for so long really, really, really diminished the quality of their life. So I'm just a storyteller. I'm sure that's part of it. And I like the fact that I've been, still am, a therapist of 45 years and willing to self-disclose. That's been my secret sauce as a therapist. I've not ever seen myself above you, better than you. I've been with you. And I love the fact that I'm a seeker as much as I am a teacher. But absolutely, I'm going through another small-scale bout of situational loneliness, and I'm coming up with clever ways to treat it. And one of them is to get in my car and run up to Chicago, where I've got some of my nearest and dearest friends who get me. I got on a train for my birthday this past summer and went to Kansas City. Now, that's a happening town, Carl. That's where Carl, my man, my partner in crime, by the way, Carl, he helps me in more ways than I even care to admit. And one day I will admit. But Kansas City is a happening town. That really helped because I met some people very spontaneously who were celebrating birthdays, and I was. So that was an immediate connection. So that loneliness, out the door. But the biggest situational loneliness I felt was after I decided to leave a married life. And this was up in Northern California, Napa Valley, to be exact, wine country. And I didn't know where I was going to go, so I started just staying in Napa Valley area proper, which was fine. So I moved out and got my own apartment for just a year to give myself time to reflect and process and recover and grieve, do all those things that are necessary to something ending, whether it's death, divorce, breakup, whatever. And I remember feeling tremendous amounts of loneliness because I had known myself as a married woman. That was a huge identifier for me. And so to, be married on paper, because divorce took a while, but I didn't want to introduce myself that way. And I already told you a few minutes ago, I didn't like the word single. I didn't like the word soon to be divorced. Matter of fact, the other thing that stood out, Carl, when I would talk about my married life, I would refer to him as my former husband. People did not know what to do with that. They're like, no, he's your ex. I said, no, he's not. And even when he literally became legally my ex, I have not ever used that word. And that blows people's minds. Well, what I've tracked, because, I have a therapist brain, people associate the word ex with I'm done, dead to me. And they're sitting on anger or frustration or bitterness or something discontent. I wasn't that gal. I was grateful.
And you know what, Meg? It
What?
hurts them more than it hurts the other person. I don't
That's
know
true.
why. I don't know why they sit on that.
And especially if you have children. Oh, that was the other thing. I'm like, my ex, it's like deleting them from the planet. And this is your daughter or son's father or mother. I don't get it. But the point is, I'm not here to change anybody. But I liked the fact that I would say soon to be former, soon to be former, soon to be former. I was just trying to hang on, but the bottom line is when you're in between like lifestyles and especially identities, that in-betweenness really, I felt very, very lonely. It's like, what's that one song from The Horse with No Name? I felt like, and then you get into the name change, and I chose to return to my maiden name, but that took a while. It's just interesting. So situational loneliness is very real. It can be tied to what's going on at that time in your life, and there's a sense of shifting identities, which can make making connections difficult, and that's what situational loneliness is about. So those are the two big ones that I can identify with. How about you, Carl? In closing, because we're going to wind this down. You're so young. See, I could look at you every time I go, hey, probably hasn't. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you had any bouts, little temporary bouts of loneliness?
You know what? I always have it when I'm about to grow or
Ooh!
when something's about to change. It's really because I like to help others, I like to please others. But when my life is about to change, I go into I almost put myself into that place. It's like, okay, well, this season's ending and a new one is going to start.
Well, when you say put yourself, see, the picture that just came to me was turtle. There are a lot of people that retreat or withdraw inward.
Yeah.
But that's not, other people might see that as, oh, you must be lonely. But no, what you're saying is you made a choice to pull back, be it socially or with contact with others. You're not interested in a high state of connecting because you're connecting with yourself.
Yeah. But
That's different.
But it's almost opposite because when I am connecting too much with other people's,
Too much.
I get lonely. Like it's almost like I'm doing
Well, you're
myself.
disconnected from yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
See, and we didn't, well.
Another day.
Again, yeah, well, I think it's something, I know this is, because it's getting a lot of press right now. Pandemic, it's an epidemic, it's this, it's what. In other words, they're saying it's out there. Now, I will wind this down by saying I believe it's getting attention because of technology.
Ooh.
Our phones, tablets, laptops are what's getting our time. And we are moving away from human being contact, direct, face-to-face, eye-to-eye. And that is absolutely accelerating a kind of isolation. Be it, once it starts with physical, I'm not around people aren't getting that much of my time, but my tablet is, my TV is, my this, but I've said this before, when I left my marital life, we had 5 TVs and I didn't take one with me. And I'm so proud of myself. But it blows people's minds. How are you doing? I said, well, and to go back to your point, I actually am connecting more with myself. So that was not the intention, but that is the benefit, which is probably why, if that's also what's going on, one would not experience the types that I'm talking about tonight, the social and the emotional. But it's all about disconnect. And I know there must be a loneliness if you're not connected to yourself that we're not really talking about yet or naming yet. My point is, this is new. We're looking at it from more angles now. Typically, loneliness would be mostly associated, I'm going to say this now as a therapist, with old people. Yeah. What we would call, it could be potentially chronic, which is, they were married, they're now a widow. They were working, now they're retired. And so their people contact really winds down. And what happens is, if you're not very socially skilled or socially confident and competent, you got to put skin in that game. I mean, that's part of. To thwart off the emotional loneliness, you got to continue to create, build new connections. Okay. In the meantime, it's just top of mind right now with the holidays. It's top of mind post-COVID. And again, with the technological invasion we have, there are many more people expressing it. I know that since I ended a married life, I've been reacquainted with it in different shapes and forms. And again, me not making so many changes in my life. Like I said, I've moved 5 times in 6 years. So start over. It just helps that I'm an extrovert. Right, Carl?
Yes.
Helps that I don't have a shy bone in my body. Helps that I've got a lot of energy. And I love people. It's just that simple.
And you're so animated.
Well, there is that. But in the meantime, I hope any of this was of insight value to you, self-reflection value to you, maybe help you understand some people in your circle who might be acknowledging that they're feeling bouts of it. Again, the permanent loneliness, I really believe, is heavily tied to making a decision, to not put any energy into making connections. I really believe that's a lot of it. And some of it is, I'm sure, circumstantial or the combination thereof. In the meantime, until next time, folks, Meg Higgins, your queen of second opinions. Go check me out, secondopinionated.com. See if there's any way I can be of service to you, because I'm being of service to me and everybody I love right now. Bye-bye.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Woo, child, tired of the bullshit. Gone, dust your shoulders off. Keep it moving, yes, Lord. Trying to get some new shit in there, swimwear, going to the pool shit.